Hello there. Welcome to Brand Identity System Masterclass, where we build a clear, structured, and profitable personal brand. My name is Victoria Cashwell, and I am your personal brand strategist. I help Christian creators build clear, structured, and profitable personal brands so they can create impact and income without compromising their faith. Now, why I created this? I created this because I kept seeing the same problem. Christians with powerful messages, but no structure, no clarity, and no system to turn what they carry into something tangible. Not because they lack purpose, but because they lack direction. Now, what you will build in this training, you're not just learning theory, you're building a system. By the end of this, you'll have a clear brand identity, a defined audience, a specific problem you solve, a strong brand message, and a structured content pillars. You move from confused and inconsistent to clear, structured, and intentional with a brand that actually makes sense and can grow. Building a personal brand as a Christian is confusing. Everyone tells you just post, just be consistent, just create content, but nobody tells you what your brand is actually about. The truth, you don't have a consistency problem. You have a clarity problem. And until that is fixed, no amount of posting, no strategy, no algorithm will make people remember you, trust you, or buy from you. What's actually happening? You post something about faith today, motivation tomorrow, then a random lifestyle video the next day. And for a moment, it feels like you're doing something, but deep down, you know something is off. The real issue. The posts don't connect. People watch. Maybe they like, maybe they comment, but they don't remember you. Why does this matter? Now, this matters because if they don't remember you, they can't trust you. And if they can't trust you, they will never buy from you. That's the real problem we are fixing today. Here is another truth, right? You don't lack ideas. You don't lack content. What you lack is structure. So what builds a strong brand? A strong personal brand is not built on random inspiration. It is built on clear identity, which is who you serve, what problem you solve, and what you stand for. When this is clear, content becomes easy, consistency becomes natural, growth becomes predictable. Now, I want you to grab a notebook because it's time to get to work, right? Not your phone, not the workbook yet, a notebook. You're going to build your brand clarity from scratch together. Now, by the end, you'll have your audience, your problem, your brand message, your brand statement, your content pillars. Then you'll transfer it into the workbook for your final blueprint. Now, calling versus brand. God has called me to speak. God has called me to help women heal. God has called me to speak about finances. But speaking is not a brand. Clarity happens when your calling meets a problem. I want you to write this down. 3 things you are passionate about. 3 problems you feel called to solve. Because passion without a problem is just noise. Example, passion. What are you passionate about? What you want to talk about? And that could be teaching discipline, helping Christians understand wealth, spiritual growth. Now, the problem is what your audience are experiencing. And that is the opposite of what you're passionate about. So if you're passionate about teaching discipline, then your target audience are experiencing a lack of consistency. If you're passionate about helping Christians understand wealth, then your audience are struggling with financial confusion. If your passion is helping with spiritual growth, then your target audience are feeling stuck. That is the problem that they are struggling with. Now your brand starts here. Look at the intersection. That intersection is where your brand begins, right in between the solution that you provide and the problem that your audience are facing. Now we pair each passion with a problem it naturally solves. So A, discipline; X, lack of consistency. You help people become consistent. B, wealth understanding; X, financial confusion. You help people gain clarity about money. C, spiritual growth; X, feeling stuck. You help people break stagnation spiritually and mentally. Now, audience clarity. You cannot speak to everyone. This is the mistake a lot of creators make. You're trying to speak to everybody. If you try that, no one will feel like you're speaking to them. So if you're talking about marriage, you're talking about relationship, you're talking about money, you're talking about lifestyle, you're talking about makeup, you are having a lot of topics, attracting different kinds of audience, and you will never have a, a specific audience that are following you for a specific reason. Right. So answer this. Who is your audience? What are they struggling with? What do they deeply desire? Not surface level answers. Write what keeps them up at night. Now, example, your audience could be Christian women in their 20s to 30s. Their struggle is inconsistent prayer life or lack of discipline. Now, their desire is spiritual growth, structure, and clarity. Do you see how this works? So, if your target audience, for example, are young Christian entrepreneurs, then their struggle will probably be lack of structure for their businesses. And their desire will be to have business growth, financial breakthrough, or income. So, this is how this works. Your brand is not what you talk about, it is the problem you solve. Now, here is weak versus strong brand message. Let's say I talk about God. Okay, you talk about God, but there's so many things to talk about God because there's so many topics. Where are we going to start when we're talking about God? But a strong one is specific. I help Christian women overcome inconsistency in their walk with God through structured habits. Now, this is not just for every Christian woman. This is for Christian women who are struggling with inconsistency in their walk with God. And I help them through structured habits. Do you see the specificity in this description? Now, if your audience cannot clearly say what you help them with, you don't have a brand yet. Sorry to bust your bubble.
So let's move to your message. Strong brands don't say many things, they say one thing in many different ways. Examples: discipline is a spiritual responsibility. And then God is not against wealth. You just don't understand it yet. These are two different topics. Because if I am talking about wealth and I say God is not against wealth, you just don't understand it yet. Any other topic that I talk about or other content that I shoot must relate to wealth creation, if that's what my brand is all about. I can use a metaphor, I can use a story, but it all still boils down to wealth creation. Now, if your message changes every week, your brand resets every week. And we don't want that, right? We want our brand to be consistent so that our audience will always know what to expect. Now, your brand in one sentence: I help, into bracket, specific person overcome specific problem so they can desire transformation through what your approach, the approach that you offer them. If this is unclear, your content will be unclear. Examples: I help Christian women build profitable personal brands in 21 days so they can create income and impact without compromising their faith. Another example is I help young believers develop discipline so they can stop feeling stuck and start living purposefully. Do you get it? This is so clear. If anyone reads this, immediately they know what your brand is all about. Now, let's move to content pillars. Content pillars are your boundaries. They keep your content focused, aligned, and recognizable. Without pillars, you'll always default to random posting, and we don't want that. So, example, if your brand talks about personal branding for Christian women, your content pillars will be number one, brand Number one, brand clarity. Now, under brand clarity, we see finding niche, defining message. Another pillar is content creation. Under that, we see what to post, consistency. Another one is monetization. And under that, we see turning content into income. This is what I want you to do. Create 3 to 5 pillars. Under each pillar, write 3 content ideas. Now, in order for you to avoid the hard work, I have put this together in a simple way with ChatGPT so that it's easier for you to just copy and paste and get the results. This is the prompt. The prompt is well structured to help you get your 5 pillars, ensuring that it's clear, relevant to your target audience, positioned to build authority and attract clients. So all you have to do is to copy and paste your brand message or bio right where it says insert your bio here. And then you paste that in ChatGPT and it's going to generate for you your content pillars and content ideas. Very easy, peasy, and cheesy. Okay? You're welcome. So take a screenshot of this and do that so that you can start creating content right away. By now, you should have your audience, your problem, your message, your brand statement, and your content pillars. These changes everything. If this is clear, you will never feel confused about content again. If it's not clear, pause, okay? Go back and refine it. Watch this video over and over again and refine your personal brand. With that being said, this clarity is what turns content into a brand and a brand into income. Transfer everything into the workbook. Now, all that you've written down in your notebook, go to your workbook and work with your workbook so that you can have ultimate clarity. That workbook becomes your system, clear, structured, and repeatable. My name is Victoria Cashwell, and I will catch you in my next course. Bye bye for now, and good luck in building your personal brand.